Reporting live from the White House, we are providing exclusive coverage of this breaking news story involving the highest levels of government in connection with the COVID-19 pandemic and the government response thereto. We are standing by and monitoring closely a developing story. I say again, a developing story, but only scant details are available at this hour from official sources who are elected to preserve their right to remain silent, and only scant details are available at this hour from official sources. So we can only rely upon what has been filed under penalties of sanctions with the federal district courts. The vast majority of FOIA cases can be resolved on summary judgment, normally in favor of the government, and at least according to the U.S. Attorney in the nation's capital, Matthew Graves. In pleadings filed with the federal district court, it was a done deal, and as a graduate of an elite private college, Washington and Lee University in the Commonwealth of Virginia, with a revered honor system, why would anyone expect anything else from this gentleman and man of his word? Yet in pleadings filed on August 30th, 2024, under a court-mandated deadline, deadlines happen from time to time, but for this filing in what has become, even according to accounts of the trial court itself, a case with quite a protracted history. At one point even going all the way to the United States Supreme Court. But according to the White House account, quite contrary to the plaintiff's or requester in a FOIA's representations, OMP had responded to the plaintiff's FOIA request with a final decision stating that OMB had made a good faith effort to conduct a search for requested records responsive to his request and found no responsive documents. I repeat, the White House found no responsive documents, and therefore, defendant is entitled to an order granting summary judgment in its favor on plaintiff's claims. At least prior to now, however, the U.S. Attorney Matt Graves had told the court that the plaintiff's allegations were simply bizarre conspiracy theories or fantastic government manipulations and inherently frivolous and subject to dismissal, nothing more than an unadorned, the defendant unlawfully harmed me accusation that is ripe for dismissal. Bringing these claims to courts not the first time to see it that way. But for still unknown reasons, conditions have changed, and now U.S. Attorney Graves has submitted an extraordinary request for additional time to reply to the plaintiff's rebuttal to his pleadings. Court records seem to suggest that this is the fourth time in this litigation that the White House has been prompted to make such a request. But on August 17th, of this year, U.S. Attorney Graves had told the trial court with great confidence and exuberance that OMB intends to combine its opposition with a cross motion for summary judgment. And as at least any first-year law student knows, a party moving for summary judgment has the burden of establishing the lack of any genuine issue of material fact, and that he is entitled as a matter of law to judgment in his favor. A done deal. The U.S. Attorney has claimed to the trial court that the government is entitled therefore to a presumption of good faith. However, under the law, good faith would be presumed in the absence of a showing to the contrary in the manner permitted by our cases. We do not know if that had occurred, but something at this point, not yet determined what, has brought about almost a 180-degree reversal in this case brought against the White House. Initially commenced back in July of 2021. A verified pleading, as presented in declaration by White House respondents to the trial court on August 30th, may be treated as an affidavit for summary judgment purposes if it is made on personal knowledge. And on presumption of good faith, it must be presumed that Heather B. Walsh, Deputy General Counsel for OMB and Office of the General Counsel, had possessed personal knowledge, for she had submitted to the trial court that all OMB records pertaining to any determination that either the infectious dose or secondary attack rate for COVID-19 or its corresponding virus SARS-CoV-2 had warranted classification at the confidential level. Now, this is key. This is the lowest level for personnel security classification, but an authority reserved for only those delegated by the president himself, the vice president, an agency head, or a designated official. When a designation of confidential is applied to classified information, this requires a determination that the unauthorized disclosure of this information could reasonably be expected to cause damage, not great damage, but just damage to the national security. However, under executive order, normally basic epidemiological metrics are not classified, but at some point, it appears to be around January 2022, officials at the White House had determined that these metrics warranted at least a classification of confidential. Most importantly, a determination that the original classification authority is able to identify or describe at the time must be made. That should be in a document memorializing which has yet to be disclosed. We do not know if that is a hang-up that has caused the White House to request more time, but they should be able to just pull this out, because they should not require 14 days to create a document, because this would have been created at the time. And at this hour, the White House has requested and had been permitted, in the interest of judicial efficiency, an additional 14 days beyond the normal time provided to issue a reply to a pleading, because despite great confidence in mid-August, for unknown reasons, the situation has changed. A verified pleading, as presented in declaration by the White House respondents, may be treated as an affidavit for summary judgment purposes if it sets forth such facts as would be admissible into evidence. And on presumption of good faith, it must be presumed that Ms. Walsh, Deputy General Counsel of OMB, had been completely forthcoming with the trial court when she had declared that not until January 10th, 2022, did OMB contact the Deputy Associate Directors for Health and National Security Divisions. This is very, very high in the government for this simple request, and had only just initiated a search on January 13th, 2022, to seek documents from petitioner's request, which was acknowledged in receipt on March 23rd, 2021, over 9 months later. Why did a process that should at most extend only 20 days take so long? Neither the White House nor U.S. Attorney Graves has issued an official statement at this time, and have elected a right to remain silent, which normally pertains to a criminal case. But they may just be searching for the correct answer to make sure that the right answer gets out. Still, it must be presumed on good faith that Ms. Walsh, the OPM Deputy General Counsel, had been entirely forthcoming with the trial court when she had declared that, to further corroborate that OMB did not have any responsive records, a very detailed, comprehensive search, OMB had conducted searches of all emails sent or received by any OMB employees dated from December 1st, 2019 to January 13th, 2022. The National Security Council, according to Ms. Walsh, provides enterprise hosting of classified emails, confidential, secret, top secret, for all components affiliated with the executive office of the president, the highest levels of government, including OMB, and OMB had transmitted an order for this search of classified emails to the National Security Council. Well, it doesn't get very much higher than that, reaching to the highest levels of government. Yet despite this seemingly exhaustive effort in the processing of a simple FOIA request about basic epidemiological metrics on COVID-19 that has already taken over 3 years to resolve, after filing their final, what was supposed to be their final motion for summary judgment on August 30th, the White House and U.S. Attorney Graves now claim that the government requires still yet more time because, simply stated, the situation had changed. No further comments at this time. However, normally when a defendant fails to produce documents in a timely manner, a presumption of spoliation arises, which has to be met with a good cause explanation as to why it took so much time. But again, at this hour, the White House continues to remain silent. A verified pleading, as presented in declaration by White House respondents, may be treated as an affidavit for summary judgment purposes if it shows affirmatively that the applicant is competent to testify to the matter stated therein. And again, on presumption of good faith, it must be presumed that Ms. Walsh, the OPM Deputy General Counsel, had been completely forthcoming with the trial court in affirming that she was, at the time, sufficiently competent and in possession of all mental faculties. Certainly in good faith. White House respondents and U.S. Attorney Graves would not, in good faith, present a declaration from anyone who might possibly be incompetent or declared so. And we review the evidence, both direct and circumstantial, together with all reasonable inferences to be drawn therefrom, in the light most favorable to the government. However, the only thing that can be said at this hour for certain is that something no officials can explain or amplify upon exactly what, but something has changed to alter the trial strategy at the White House in this simple FOIA case since mid-August. And at this hour, the official White House position on this matter is that they shall require a little more time. Reporting live from Washington at the White House, back to you in the studio, Mo. This message was approved by Major Mike Webb. Honest. This has been a Filmways presentation, darling. And y'all come back now. Yeah.